Watch Who.
Hello, and welcome to Watch Who, a Doctor Who podcast. My name's Mark.
And my name's Sarah.
I'm a Doctor Who fan and have watched all of the episodes. And Sarah is watching for the first time.
Yeah. New to Who.
New to Who, as we say. How are you enjoying the experience so far?
What are we on, 4?
This is our 4th, yeah.
Yeah, 4.
So we're watching right from the beginning in order.
It's really hard to keep track because we're watching them we're doing it by story, obviously, for this, but the episodes are set, so, you know, one story can be like 4, then 7, and then this.
Yes, right, yeah, okay. So last time we watched The Edge of Destruction.
Terrible.
Which was our first low point, but it was only the 3rd story we've done, so...
That says it. Oh, no.
So a little bit disappointing, but we're getting to know the characters a bit more now. Well, you're getting to know
yes.
the characters,
you know
aren't you? Yeah.
I am, yes.
Yeah, so this is still my favourite thing, watching Doctor Who with you. I'm talking about Doctor Who. So this one is a little bit different, and you're earning your hardcore points for this one, because even some fans, I would say, take a bit of time to get this far, because we're talking about missing episodes.
Yeah.
So
when you said, we've got some missing episodes to come up, and I was like, what does that even mean?
So were you aware, before I mentioned casually at that time, that there were missing episodes of Doctor Who?
No.
Not at all?
No. Okay. This was new info.
Great. Well, this is exciting. So
In fact, I've mentioned it to people since, like, because obviously people know that I'm doing this, and they're like, "Oh, how's it going?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I've got." You know, I was saying, I'm going to watch a missing episode tonight. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I know. Don't know. And they're like, what? What are you on about? Missing episodes? I don't know.
So from a fan point of view, there's probably a time in every fan's life. Well, no, I was thinking about this. So, like, I think I mentioned to you before, I had like a printout from Word of like all the stories in Arial fonts.
Oh, it's
in
my favourite.
In the 90s. And it was like, Unearthly Child, 4 episodes, The Daleks 7, Marco Polo 7, and there was all these. I was like, Mission to the Unknown, The Daleks Master Plan, that sounds really cool, you know. See all these titles. And then I reckon most fans probably find out through Doctor Who magazine, which I think I probably did, where they did a feature like, you know, they do episode guides and all this kind of thing, and then next to it there's a little column that's like missing, or only episode 2 survives, and you're like, what? What? And then you learn, I think at that point you learn, hang on, what happened here? So there's 97 currently missing episodes.
What do you mean currently?
Well, they could turn up at any time.
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought you meant like...
Not like they're going anywhere. No,
you meant like there'll be more.
I think there was like 112 when I first found out about it.
Okay.
So it's a really interesting area. I won't go into too much detail because we've got a lot of missing episodes coming up. So I'll spread the chat across the episodes. But as this is the first one, so basically the BBC got rid of them.
Yeah.
Just to save space. Videotapes. So they taped over them. They didn't think they would be used again.
No.
I think the contracts were like 1 repeat, maybe. It wasn't repeat. Stuff wasn't repeated back then, so no one knew the value. But it was up until about the 70s that they were doing it. So a lot of the episodes that exist are ones where they made copies and sold them to other countries, and they've come back that way.
Aww.
So actually, there were so many, like the Daleks.
Yeah.
I think a fan managed to save that. It was all taped up, ready to go.
Oh, really?
And he was that was in the 70s. It was saved. So, we wouldn't have ever seen Ganatus. So
you wouldn't have got those trousers.
Yeah. So, it is a really interesting story, and there's so much. People have written books about this, and there's all the forums about the missing episodes. And it's not just Doctor Who. There's loads of BBC stuff that's missing. But obviously, Doctor Who is such a big, popular show that it's like.
I think.
And why? I mean, the BBC must be like, why did we do this? You know.
But then it's made a thing of it.
Well, yeah, but the good thing about Doctor Who is that all the soundtracks survive, and that is because fans at the time, they like plug their like, you know,
all of the
soundtracks survive. Whereas like other BBC shows, they've like burnt, nothing exists.
Yeah.
So the soundtrack, so the sound tape from the TV exists, and loads of different fans did that. So there's various different. It's not just like one fan. They come back that way, and they, you know, various quality and stuff. So that is a plus. And also, we watched Marco Polo on the beginning DVD box set, where they've put together like a half an hour cut down version with telesnaps. So there was a guy employed to take photos of the TV screen for like set designers or directors, because again, for their sort of show reel or a copy of their work.
Yeah.
So they would pay for
and that
this
was
guy.
BBC.
I think he was sort of freelance.
Okay.
But he would get in touch and be like, do you want a copy, or do you want a record of your show as it goes out? And then that's so. A lot of telesnaps exist, not all of them. So there's some where just the sound exists. So there's some episodes of Doctor Who where no one knows what the monster looks like, because there's no photos, there's nothing, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's quite, a lot of them do have telesnaps. So that's really interesting. So that was in like Doctor Who magazine and stuff. You'd see all these, I did find all the telesnaps a bit boring. They used to like publish them. I'm like, what is this? Why?
Yeah.
Like, but now you sort of see the value of it.
Yeah.
So we got sound, we got pictures. And also recently, which will be coming up, which I'm really excited for you to see. So the BBC have started animating the missing episodes. So we've got the soundtrack, and then they've been releasing them on DVD bit by bit. So not all of them are done. And there's ones like sort of Marco Polo, which might not be, because it's such a big story. They've been doing the sort of easier ones first. So I reckon one day we'll have them all animated.
That's your hope.
So that is my hope. Yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So, and Marco Polo could still be out there. Like, it's not impossible.
Oh, but maybe it is.
Well, you see, this is where you get into... We'll go into this in some... But there's so many rumours and all this kind of thing. So the last ones that turned up were 2013.
Okay.
So 12 episodes were found
12?
In 2013. Well, this is a bit of a... So this guy... So there's a company that he goes around the world, basically, trying to find... Yeah. And it's... I mean, they're not going to be in England, I don't think.
No.
They're more... Well, the ones that got sold around the world.
Yeah.
So I think it was Nigeria.
Oh.
I think it's come up. He had them all, like these 12 episodes. Actually, no, it was 11 episodes, because one went missing. So there's a story where he had them all, and he was going to go and collect them, and then somebody stole one. So there is at least one out there still so there's private collectors. So the theory is that there's a couple of episodes in collectors' hands that they know that they won't want to release them. So I think there's a rumour that there's a Marco Polo somewhere, possibly. It's all this is all speculation. This is what I've read. And when you start reading it online, you get into all sorts of things. I would love to think that there's stories out there, but I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
You know.
It's nice to have a dream, Mark. It's nice to have a dream.
That's the thing, it's over 50 years. If it's in someone's like loft or something, it's not going to be in the best condition and stuff. So that's a very condensed... We'll get into more of it in other episodes. But yeah, there is a lot of missing episodes.
Great.
But there's still hope. That's what I'm trying to say.
More to come.
There we go.
Are there some coming up that are like, these bits are missing, here's one, and here's some more missing?
What do you mean, like whole stories, or like...
Because this was a whole story missing.
Yeah, there's some where there's like only 2 episodes like exist out of 4.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So there's bits of episodes, yeah. Or there's a story where there's like only 1 episode out of however many. Yeah, so it's bits and pieces. It's not always a whole story.
Okay.
Or there's some where there's like nothing. So it's just the luck of, you know, how
it goes.
Someone, or they've turned up in skips, they've turned up in churches, they've turned up in like all over the world. Yeah, just the most random places.
Weird.
So it's it's fascinating. You do a whole podcast about missing episodes. I mean, it's amazing.
There probably is someone. There probably
and
are.
I reckon there is somebody out there. It's either someone out there that doesn't know, that's like a film collector that doesn't know, because that's happened before. This he's had it for years, until a Doctor Who fan comes and says, "Oh, by the way, that's a missing episode." he's not going to know.
No.
If you're not a fan or you don't know, or there's a fan out there that's got an episode, and that is where it's like, and knows that everyone wants to see it.
And saved us 7 episodes.
Well, yes, okay. All right then. So there we go. That is a lot of chat about missing episodes. Right, let's get back on track to Marco Polo.
Is your name Marco Polo?
It is, my lady, and may I ask who you are?
Oh, we're travellers, yes. That's my grandchild, Susan, and that's Miss Wright, and that's Charlton.
Chesterton. Ian Chesterton. My companions are the Lady Pincho and the Warlord Tegant.
Marco Polo.
So we left Edge of Destruction.
Yeah.
They all went outside. Ian was in his cloak and Susan was throwing snowballs.
She was.
And they found a footprint in the sand. It's not the snow even, not the sand.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? Where do you think this was going? Did you?
Where were they? I can't remember where they were. Like, not Egypt. Where were they?
Mountains somewhere.
Mountains.
Is it China?
I can't remember.
Because it's Cathay, not Cathays, Cathays.
Yeah, I thought Cathays.
Which I think was China.
Yes.
So here's the thing, right? So this is our first historical story properly.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you could say Unearthly Child was a bit historical, but you had...
Yeah.
But so there's a few, mainly in the 60s, where you get historical stories where it's just the TARDIS and the TARDIS crew, but there's no other sci-fi elements or anything. It's pure historical.
Yeah. What subjects were Ian and Barbara?
Barbara's history.
Yeah, and what's Ian?
Ian's science.
Yeah, I was thinking that on my way over. I was like...
So there's sort of if you think about it, because they did design
classic.
Doctor Who. Well, they designed it sort of to be a bit of an educational series.
Yeah.
So that's why these historical ones are in there, so kids would get interested and...
learn.
And well, I was, it depends what kind of history it is, but I didn't really know much about Marco Polo.
So you learned about...
So you learned about
the Daleks and...
yeah. That important bit of history. So this is historical, and and I find some of them a little bit difficult. I mean, 7 episodes of this.
I know.
I mean, I would love it to be returned, and I'd love to see it. I'm sure it looks amazing, but I wouldn't be able to watch it all in one go. I don't think.
No, it was. I don't know whether it. Do you know what? And this is going to sound awful. The fact they could chunk 7 episodes into half an hour shows. There must be a lot of waste.
Yeah, so there are, sorry, just to go back, there are sort of fan recreations where they're on like Dailymotion and stuff. I don't know how legal they are. but there is the 7 episodes you can watch in that format with the photos they put together and the whole soundtrack. And I've got the soundtrack on CD, and to be honest, I've never got all the way through it.
No. The fact that they can get it down to half an hour shows there is a lot of waste.
We did the edit. I thought that was the best way for us to experience it. I didn't want to sit you in front of a tape recorder and just listen to the soundtrack.
I would never have forgiven you.
But so I only really know this story from that version we watched, that half an hour off the DVD.
And I think as well, because the whole point is that we're experiencing, like, for people to be aware, I'm experiencing this for the first time, and I think most people that will get a DVD and watch this.
Yes.
So I think the only way to really be honest to this process is how Joe Blog, i.e. me, will experience this process. They're not going to go online. They are not going to. I am not going to get a CD and do this. I can tell you that now.
Okay.
I will, if I am going to do this, I will get a DVD and do it that way. That's just like, so it's right to do it that way.
It's better than missing it out. Because
completely.
They're all on like BritBox at the moment, but obviously this isn't, it's just skipped.
Yeah.
There's, so if people are watching it new, this is probably, it's sort of highly regarded by fans as like this would be amazing if it was.
Yeah, and
it's on like fans' most wanted for like to be returned. I don't know if that's because it's the earliest missing one.
Could be.
That's sort of for my reason. I just want to watch them all in order.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to look amazing because, like you said, the BBC do historical.
Yeah.
Really well, and the sets and everything. From what we've seen, it looks amazing.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, the only things that sort of annoyed me about it were really trivial things, like.
So, I mean, obviously, there's we just
the
saw
little
those,
sidekick guy that just kept like, I'm gonna hit this water, like totally little ridiculous things like that. But actually, in terms of the whole like side plots, you know, and all that,
Well,
it's really hard for me to remember characters and have a connection with anyone because it was in half an hour.
Yes, well, you didn't really spend that much time with
No.
them, so it is going to be difficult for us to really talk about.
Yeah.
Because if you'd spend 7 weeks normally with this lot, like
Yeah.
you did with the Daleks and the Thals and stuff.
So I can't.
So it is difficult.
Can't remember. I can remember the overall story.
Okay.
Don't ask me any names.
Okay, well, if I go through the points that I made, and
That
then
would be
maybe we can
good.
talk about. So first off, they land. The TARDIS, is broken down? There's no water.
Follows us everywhere.
What's the matter?
All the lights in the ship have gone out. That whole circuit has burnt itself to a cinder, and added to that, it affected the water. We haven't got any.
The water's no bother, Doctor. I mean, we've got snow, plenty of it. But how about the heating?
No, the heating as well. Everything's gone to pot.
Oh, is that what it
And they're
was?
stuck so there's no water.
Oh, right,
and
yeah.
it's broken. So straight after Edge of Destruction, after I've had all that problem.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right,
But
yeah.
early on, I like sort of early on, the TARDIS is just whatever the plot needs it to be.
Yeah, I think as well, that was the other thing. The first few minutes, it was me getting used to what the format
Well,
was.
exactly, yeah.
So, again, I kind of didn't take it all in because it's all
Just random,
faster.
and those telesnaps are like, they're like you're trying to take a selfie running along the road. It's just these random, like, blurry, like...
Yeah, it's
they're
really
like the
weird.
worst photos.
They're really weird. And the speech is faster, it feels, because there's no gaps, because obviously it's just like... Blah, 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 blah,
Well, yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah.
So everything feels faster. So it took me a few minutes just to, like, adjust to what was going on. So I don't really remember the beginning. So they had no water.
There's no water, and then they get captured by Marco Polo, and then Barbara comes in to her, her history. She's like, "Oh, you're Marco Polo, aren't you?"
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And because he
Barbara
was like,
points
we're
there.
doing this. And she was like, oh, but you don't do that. And he's like, what you on about? And she was like, oh, never mind.
And then the whole thing is they've got to stick with Marco Polo on his journey because he won't let them back into the TARDIS.
Yeah.
And he's got the key.
The Mongol bearers still half believe that you are evil spirits. They also believe that outside your caravan you are harmless. However, should any of you attempt to enter, there would be trouble.
So he's not like a baddie, though. He's sort of... I feel he'd be our new Ganatus if we'd watched the whole lot. If we spent a bit more time.
Probably.
Our favourite sort of character in this.
Yeah, I guess.
Because he's not bad, he's not good. He's just trying to get on with it. And it's...
He's got mixed intentions,
Yeah.
hasn't he?
Yeah. But
His intention is like, but this is going to be the gift sort of thing. And actually it's like, but...
But he's not like... He's friends with, like, the Doctor and Ian and Barbara, and so he like, brings
Yeah.
them into the camp.
Yeah.
But he's sort of he sort of captures them, but doesn't really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
he
a
just
friendly
doesn't-
sort of
Yeah, he's
capture,
just-
isn't it? So
Yeah, he's going for a different outcome.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then there's some nice scenes with Susan and Ping Cho.
Yeah.
So she's got a little, sort of a friend in this, so again Susan is very much the child in this.
Yeah.
But there's some nice scenes, and then Ping Cho's asking Susan about her home and all that kind of stuff. That
Yeah.
was quite nice, wasn't it?
So what was...
She still has a bit of a scream every now and then.
Well, of course she does. She had a great moment, didn't she? There was like one proper and it's even funnier because of the still.
Yeah.
There was one proper screamy moment where we were like, oh, there she goes.
Yeah.
But there was... I couldn't work out what Ping Cho's... And again, it could have happened early on. Her relationship was to the rest of the party. She was going to get married to like some old man.
She was like a daughter of a nobleman. So
Yeah.
but she was acting as Marco Polo's servant with the camp on the journey.
On the
too.
journey.
Yeah.
And then when she got there, she was going to be married to some old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
Susan's
thought that,
like-
but I was like, am I missing something?
And Susan was like, what? Like,
What?
Is your fiancé handsome?
I have never seen him.
What?
The marriage has been arranged by my family. I know only 2 things about him.
Well, what are they?
He's a very important man,
That's a good start.
and he's 75 years old.
Say what? Yeah.
I also put that the Doctor is unconscious for a little while. Again,
classic.
4th story in a row.
Classic.
in story number 4.
Classic.
I didn't really like...
That is classic Doctor Who.
Yeah.
right now, as like new to Who, classic Doctor Who, the Doctor is unconscious.
Yeah.
Doctor is comatose, out. Oh, let's stick him in the TARDIS. Like, he's out. What do we do?
Break for an episode.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the sort of that condensation bit where so they don't have any water and they're out in the desert, aren't they? So they don't have any. So obviously the TARDIS doesn't have any water, but then there's condensation that drips on his head in the TARDIS. So they bring out water and then they have to explain to Marco Polo what condensation
is. Yeah.
It's a bit, looking back, because we're looking with sort of new Who views, there's a mouthful. Obviously, we think, the TARDIS has got swimming pools, it's got this, it's got this.
Yeah,
so when he's like, there's no water in the TARDIS, we're all like, they were going to die of like... thirst.
Yeah.
It's a bit, but it's early on in the series, so you've got to sort of...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's condensation. It's unbelievable. Condensation, do you understand?
No, I do not understand.
That's it, I think. Because we know what the TARDIS is, what it's capable. I think that's also because I missed the whole water thing.
I don't know how you missed that. That was like the main.
I don't know, because I was just. I think as well, I just kept laughing at the stills. So every time a new still came up, I just kept laughing. So I completely missed so much. The first 2 or 3 minutes, I missed so much. But anyway, I think. Because that's so funny. It's so important, Sarah. No, because I missed that. In my head, I was like, why don't they just go in the TARDIS and get some water?
I know.
And I was like, they should just tell him, like, get the keys and go in the TARDIS and get some water. And then when they did let him in the TARDIS, I was like, they're going to be fine. They can have a drink.
I know. So, yeah.
They can just use that, like, food thing and have some water. But no, apparently no water.
No, it's all broke again.
TARDIS is shit. That TARDIS is crap.
But I like the sort of stories where they are stuck in history in a way, and they got to make that journey. So I think watching this, you'd have a different sort of village or town on the way in each episode, and I like that sort of thing. So it's very difficult to judge this one just by that reconstruction. And then we had Tagana as like the baddie, didn't we? He's the one that cut the water thing.
He was my least favourite.
Well, yeah.
But he was just rubbish. Like, you didn't see him, and then like he'd just appear and cut something, and then you didn't see him again. Like,
I think that obviously there's probably more going on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like because of the stills as well. He'd just look a bit evil. And it was only him. You only got subtitles once or twice, and it was like there is a scuffle or something, and it was him. Yeah. But it was just funny because he was just like dodgy luck, cut some things, haha, and then later on I didn't like him. No, he was just rubbish.
But I suppose we can probably establish that there's less tension now with the TARDIS crew, like the Doctor. There's no sort of. They're in that situation, but they're sort of getting on now. It's a bit easier than it was. Do you think?
Yeah, I don't feel like anything.
We haven't got any Barbara moments to talk about.
No, I don't feel anything really happened amongst them in this episode. I don't really feel like anything was changed or achieved, and I don't know if that's just because it was chunked into like.
If there were any sort of character moments, we didn't really get that this time round. But we've got plenty of time for that. Things,
and I don't know whether that's just because there's so much history to pack in and that story that became the focus more than the characters. Yeah. Whereas in the other ones, because obviously there isn't, the characters are the main story. This is different. The story is the story.
Yeah, it's this. Actually, it's probably the first one, really, isn't it? Where there's so much going on. There's a lot of other characters.
Yeah, happening. It's like you said before, like because it must have obviously been to like entertain kids.
I wonder if it did.
But if it's like a history story, that is the story. Yeah, is the history side and this character and this story, and they're just sort of there to supplement that. Whereas the other ones. They are the story. They are making the story.
Yes.
I guess.
I see that.
There is no story because nothing exists. There is no story without them.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different. Maybe that's why they are just in this. They are accessories to a story. All they are in this is they've got a TARDIS and they're sort of captive, but they don't move it along in any way.
No,
if they weren't there,
they're stuck. They can't do anything.
If they weren't there, the story would still continue. They don't help.
No.
The only time they help is condensation. Like they don't even, like nothing is achieved. They're walking through a desert. They can't even help. Condensation, though.
Condensation. They taught Marco Polo condensation at least. Changed history.
Changed history.
So it'll be interesting when we get there's some other historicals coming up. So
yeah, we can compare.
We can actually watch. So we'll have to
compare.
Just have to see
how that affects. But that's kind of how I feel. I'm a bit like, I can't really talk about the characters because they didn't impact the story in any way.
Well, let's say that there wasn't any major dramas between anybody.
Only at the end, and again, I didn't really understand what was going on when the Doctor was playing backgammon or something.
So he was winning back the TARDIS. So the TARDIS was donated by Marco Polo to like the Emperor.
Yeah.
And then the Doctor played backgammon or what? Ludo or something?
Uno, Snap.
They were playing that.
Played Snap.
And then he won back the TARDIS. And then off they went.
Yeah.
So, which is a nice...
How? It was broken with no water.
Oh, yeah.
Just putting that out there.
Okay,
just
so
saying.
Yeah, there we are. Well, we've done that one. We know that they met Marco Polo. Great.
Yeah, they met Marco.
Yeah, we'll get back on track next episode when we can watch some more.
Highlights though.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Susan making friends. I enjoyed that little side story.
She doesn't. I can't think of any other sort of. She hasn't really had like a friend her age.
Yeah,
that's what is nice, isn't it? It's a good it's a good sort of pairing.
Yeah,
someone for her to talk to as a 15-year-old. Let's forget she's a Time Lord or whatever.
Yeah. But it was just a nice story. I think for like. It was just a nice little story.
Like sleepover chat in their tent.
It did feel like a complete. You could have had that in itself as a story.
Yeah, definitely.
In a way, you could have had like the story of her as going along with these travellers, and because she escaped, didn't she? She like ran away, and they had to go and find her.
Yeah, it was like an extra probably whole episode of that, wasn't it?
Absolutely. So Susan knew her and got to know. And she was like, I think she'll be. So like that was nice. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was good. So actually, this was directed by the same guy that directed the first episode, Unearthly Child.
Yeah.
Waris Hussein, who I haven't met.
But
so I went to an event. Sorry, it won't take too much longer. I know we've got food. So I went to an event in Cardiff.
Yeah.
You know, at the back of the museum, there's like that theatre place.
Oh, yeah,
there was like a Doctor Who thing. Russell T Davies was there and some of the producers. And they invited Waris Hussein there to do a talk.
Yeah.
And he sat in front of me at the thing. I was like, and then when they introduced him, I mean, this was a sellout. This was like a full thing. Everyone got up and clapped. And it just went on and on. And I was like, this is so emotional. It was like, yeah. And so I haven't actually met him yet. And then he talked about doing the first episode and like, because I think it was like one of the first Asian directors in the BBC.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, he was up against it.
Yeah.
And, so he came back to direct Marco Polo. And I hope I'm getting this right. So for many years, there weren't any of those telesnaps.
Right.
But then he found, like, he'd forgotten or something. He had them. He's got them all for, like, apart from one episode that he hasn't got them for.
Yeah.
And this was only, 10 years ago that they were discovered? So he did this, like, he must have ordered them and then just found them in a thing. It was like, I've got all, and they were published and everything. And it was this whole, a lot of these episodes, so there was quite a lot of photos taken on set for this one. So there were a few, but the actual telesnaps for this one, I think he discovered.
Yeah.
So we were able to see this a bit more, but I would love to see this. I think it would look really good, and I think we would have really enjoyed it.
I think it would.
I
think it would. Because actually, even from telesnaps, there's a lot of detail.
Yeah. But I will try and listen to the whole CD, but it's just a bit. It's just a bit of a. You've got to be in that mindset, and you've really got to. It's not for like a casual.
It's not an audio book.
No, it's not. So it's that, and there's linking material. So it's like Susan walks over to the. You know what I mean? When there's like silence and stuff, it's someone. It's William Russell actually. Ian is narrating it, but
no, I couldn't be dealing with that.
You've got that because otherwise it's just noise, isn't it?
Yeah,
and you can't tell what's going on. So they've gone with they've got the original scripts and they've worked out what's happening, in those scenes.
Yeah.
And, like matched it up with the soundtrack and stuff. So
Yeah.
So there we
if you'd
go.
have made me do that, I'd have been like, no,
Yeah, I know. I
this
was like,
podcast ends here.
I cannot make you listen to 7 episodes of just like Susan walking on the sand.
Particularly as they spend pretty much a whole episode walking on sand.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there we go. So yeah, you can, as I say, you can get the CD, and I think it's online for the reconstruction. But we watched the beginning DVD box set. Is the official BBC reconstruction that's on the set that we watched. So if you're new and you're interested in trying a missing episode, then start off with the first one, Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only half an hour. Hey, it's only half an hour. And now you know that they've run out of water. It took me 2 minutes to learn. I was just trying to get into it. It took me, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's really funny. I'm sorry, but it is very funny. I kept pointing and laughing.
Just the photos of like...
Yeah, because some of them are like...
Because they're like half movement, aren't they?
Yeah, and it moves quite quickly as well, because it's obviously trying to be movement. Yeah. And I just kept pointing, because we watched it together, and I just kept pointing and laughing. And like, ha, ha, ha. And that was the first few minutes. So for me, I don't remember.
Well, yeah, we've got some animation coming up soon. So
I'm new to who? So what can I say?
So you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, To Watch Who. Let us know what you think about Marco Polo if you've given it a try. But yeah, we'll be back on track with... Well, what do we end with? We didn't end on a cliffhanger, actually, for this one.
No.
So they went off in the TARDIS and Marco Polo was like, ooh, I wonder where they're going now.
Yeah, because they knew that they were... Because they said sort of thing about, we're from the future. So then as he realised they actually were from the future, didn't he? So it's actually true what they said.
So yeah. So it's the... Keys of Marinus next.
Oh. Exciting.
Any initial thoughts giving you that title?
No.
No, I can't really.
Absolutely not. The Keys of Marinus.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well let's give it a watch. So yeah, we will see you next time when we talk about the Keys of Marinus. Bye.
Bye.
To Watch Who.
Hey, Doctor Who? What are you talking about?